Welcome back, Wolfpack Villas here, and this is how to use Mega Medicham. Mega Medicham is a very strong Pokemon, and one of my favorite Megas to use personally. That with the Pure Power ability, you're pushing your stats to around 225 attack for base, and then when you add in your EVs and stuff, it just shows that you have a ton of potential power on this Pokemon. That it also gets a decent amount of defenses and a good amount of speed. Look at its typing, it's a Fighting Psychic typing. Very unusual typing, but it does have a couple of common weaknesses that with the introduction of Fairy typing, Fighting got that little bit of a nerf, and then you're also still weak against Flying, and you have that Ghost weakness because of Psychic. But the Fighting does cancel out the Dark, which is pretty nice as well. Now you also do get a resistance to Rock and Fighting, and pretty much the biggest problem that this Pokemon has to worry about is Talonflame. It's going to get that outspeed, it's going to hit with a monstrous Brave Bird, and there's nothing that Medicham can do about that. If we hop into Pokemon Showdown, we can kind of get a really cool idea of how this Pokemon works. That when we look at stats 328, that's getting doubled, so it's like giving yourself a free Swords Dance because of the pure power, and that's putting you over 650 attack. Now when you're using a move like High Jump Kick, which has a base power of 130, you pretty much neutral one-hit KO almost everything in the game, which is why I think Medicham is really awesome. That it has a little bit of bulk, so it's a 2-3 hit KO kind of Pokemon, and it's just going to touch your opponent and they die. You also have a good amount of coverage out from there that you can lead off with Fake Out. It's going to be a good disrupt, and it's also just going to provide a little bit of extra. Zen Headbutt's going to be some nice coverage, and then Thunder Punch. I like the idea for Thunder Punch just because it's going to hit those Flying type Pokemon which resist your main move, and it's going to give you that super effective hit. So that's why I carry Thunder Punch instead of Ice Punch or Fire Punch. Generally, Dragon type Pokemon are going to take a solid neutral from Zen Headbutt or High Jump Kick, and it's not really going to matter. Some of you guys might be wondering, why just 64 EVs in the speed? It seems like a very odd number, but it actually does make a lot of sense. If you look at Medicham itself, that it has a base 80 speed, neutral is going to put you at 212 speed at level 100, and that's also going to put you at, wait for it, 108 at level 50. So then when we do this to Rotom, Rotom is at 208 at level 100, and then 50 at level 50, it's going to have that 106. I just like to give it a couple extra points just in case someone specs 4 into Rotom. That way you're still going to get that outspeed no matter what. Now the cool thing about Mega Medicham is that when it's at max attack with that Adamant Nature, with that little bit of speed investment, regular Medicham is going to have the outspeed on the turn it Mega Evolves, and then it's going to one-hit KO Rotom Wash most of the time. Like, depending on how super invested into defense Rotom is, it's still going to have a very high chance of KOing. So I just kind of have it as my anti-lead, that people lead with Rotom in singles or doubles, that this Pokemon just crushes it out, and you can get a free super amount of advantage. That leading with Mega Medicham, from my experience, has been one of the best things because it just eliminates a lot of Pokemon. That Fake Out into a hit is generally going to take out any wall or any slow setup Pokemon. Because, I mean, High Jump Kick one-hits Ferrothorn, High Jump Kick one-hits Garchomp, High Jump Kick one-hits almost anything. So if you can get a good prediction, you can just get a straight-up one-hit KO, or if you can Fake Out to break a Sash or Sturdy and go into other setup, Medicham just, like, ruins anyone's opening unless it's a Talonflame or something that just outright KOs it with super speed and super effective hits. So by only minimally investing into speed, I'm still getting a lot of investment into hit points, and because I have the base on the 80s, I do get a decent amount of mileage out of my defenses from it, and the coverage just gets really awesome. Now other things that you can run on Mega Medicham, Bullet Punch. Bullet Punch, I've seen to have about as much use as Fake Out. That Fake Out is good for the disruption, but really it's just nice having the priority. So sometimes you might want to use Bullet Punch multiple times, just because things happen like that the opponent's going to be faster, so you might want to get that extra chip damage in, or they switched out a Pokemon with low health early, and then when they bring it back in, it's just good to be able to follow that up really well. Now, a couple things to note about Medicham. Really, it's all about the speed. That if you outspeed as Medicham, you win, so Sticky Web is the way to go. Some kind of way of lowering your opponent's speed, or some kind of way of like baton passing speed into Medicham, and then you become an almost unstoppable force because you have options for everything. So yeah, that's kind of it. Like, the main set I've looked at with the Medicham, this just works out to be the best option. The High Jump Kick still has high KO potential and everything. You don't need to run Fire Punch. You don't have to worry about many other things, and you have a high survival rate. Other than that, you can run it in doubles. Doubles has good with Fake Out. It also does good with Bullet Punch. Supporting it really well just sets up really good KOs that are pretty quick. And people will bring up like Jolly Medicham. I just rather support it in the speed and become that bulkier Pokemon that really only needs to set up against Rotom Mosh and try to seek out the advantages. You bring it in later game as a wall breaker and you're still going to be very strong. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and that's how you use Mega Medicham. One of my favorite Megas to use and one of the strongest Pokemon in the game because it just neutral KOs so much and even resist 2-hit KOs, some absurd Pokemon. So you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have a nice day.